Hello there, Riderflex Nation. Steve Urban here with more career advice and job interviewing tips for you. And as a quick reminder, if you enjoy our podcast, please remember to subscribe to our channel and like the episodes. And on today's podcast, we have my old friend and colleague, David Murphy, the president and CEO of Barco Uniforms on the phone. David, thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Steve. Nice to see you.
Great to see you. I really appreciate you being on. Can you tell the listeners a little about yourself, both personally and professionally?
Sure. Yeah. So I grew up in Iowa, went to school at the University of Iowa. I had an opportunity to play football there. Had a great experience. Had a lot of great mentors in my life at that point. Steve, Bill Snyder, who's the head coach at Kansas State, and Hayden Fry was there. Kirk Ferentz, who's now at Iowa. Bob Stoops, who was at Oklahoma. So I had a lot of really good quality people. Barry Alvarez was at Wisconsin that I learned from a great deal from, just how to be a true professional and the work ethic and things that needed to be successful. And after I left Iowa, I was fortunate enough to join Nike and worked for Nike for almost 12 years, lived throughout different parts of the country. Wonderful experience, great people, incredible culture. Just a fabulous experience. And, when I left Nike, I had a chance to get in the technology space and thought I wanted to do that and was in that tech space for about 4 years. Worked for a company called Cars.com, which was under the Classified Ventures umbrella, and was in that space for 3 or 4 years and really missed the footwear and apparel space, and had an opportunity to join a company called Fresh Produce Sportswear, which was based in Boulder, Colorado, which you're familiar with. And,
right.
Nike being a multi-billion-dollar company and going to a small family-run organization was very unique and different, but a tremendous experience. And worked at Fresh Produce for quite some time and then ventured out on my own and did my own Patrick Apparel Group, and we did sourcing and manufacturing for different retailers. West Marine was one of our clients and a host of others. And then I had an opportunity to move out to Los Angeles to join a small uniform company that was in the healthcare apparel space and corporate ID space. And I've been with Barco Uniforms for about 8 years. It'll be 8 years in February, and it's been a wonderful experience, and we've had significant growth. And so that's kind of my professional side of things. And then I've been married for 27 years. I've got two boys, both Great. Out of the house, both finished with school, and really enjoy living in Southern California right now and working at Barco.
Congratulations on an awesome career so far. I mean, really, and you had a chance to be around a bunch of great mentors early on, which was fantastic, I'm sure. Plus a well-rounded career with larger companies, small companies, and doing your own thing, right? You hit all three of those buckets, which really just gave you all kinds of great experience. Congratulations on everything you've done. And I know the time you've been at Barco has been really successful as well under your leadership there. Can you tell us a little more about Barco Uniforms? You know, what they sell and why they're great at what they do?
Yeah, we are in the global apparel space, both on healthcare and corporate identity. So when I say healthcare, we design, market, and sell scrubs. We have license with Grey's Anatomy, a global license with Grey's Anatomy, and we've taken that brand from the TV show and really made it a global apparel brand. It's been really exciting. And then on another brand that we've got is the license with Skechers. And then we have our own proprietary brands, Barco One and Barco One Wellness. So we kind of have a good, better, best story within healthcare. All three brands we sell on a global perspective. And, what we're known for, Steve, is world-class quality, amazing fit, and very forward, relevant styling. We're a brand that you can count on in the healthcare space. And then corporate identity is, today we're focused in on QSR. We have accounts like Wendy's and Domino's and Subway and Panda and Jamba Juice and a host of others. And at the end of the day, we design their uniforms. People are so important to companies today. And it's really a strategic advantage to have a well-designed uniform that people are proud to wear. And we take a lot of pride in designing beautiful uniforms that employees can be excited about putting on every single day.
That's fantastic. You do such a great job with the brand over there. I can feel your leadership, and I can see your touch on the company just knowing you from our past when we worked together. And watching Barco, watching the marketing, watching the social media, looking at the quality product and the branding, really just fantastic job. Congratulations on what you're doing over there and what you have accomplished already.
Thank you.
One of the things I love to chat about with CEOs and ask them about is what it was like to transition into that level. Can you, because that's really, it's a special moment in your life when you kind of move from a management level or a supervisory level into the C-suite. Can you talk a little about what it's like to be a CEO for the first time, and maybe share some of your experiences there as you transitioned into that role?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, and it's I think that my experiences that I talked about earlier and the mentors that I had previously, the experiences and mentorships really help you prepare to take on a role of a president or CEO job. And I've been fortunate to work with great companies, Nike, Fresh Produce, and really have great mentors that have been around me in my life that have just, that have groomed me for this opportunity. And I think there's a piece to it, Steve, that I think hard work may not equal success, but you're never going to regret putting in the hard work. And at the end of the day, you've got to really put your mind to it and do the work to make yourself successful. And I love being around people. I love teamwork. I love the leadership component. There's a competitiveness to it. At the end of the day, there's a service component to it. It's kind of your rent you pay here on earth is serving others. And, when you see people grow and blossom and take on new opportunities, you get a great feeling from that. And at the end of the day, it's about our people, and it's about our teams, and it's about how we serve our customers. And I think the thing that makes Barco really special is we care about our customers, and probably greater than anybody else. And so it's been a wonderful experience, and it couldn't have not done it without great mentors and really great people that have helped me along the way. And I think, Steve, it's just, you know this, is that you've got to have mentors in your life that you can call and count on. They can give you insights and counsel. And when you have really smart people around you that can give you great insights on tough decisions, the better off you are. And I've used my mentors and former colleagues and a host of others to really help and guide me through my career.
For the listeners now, when they heard that answer there, it just really speaks to your leadership, right? I asked you a question around what it was like to transition into the CEO spot, and you could have made that all about you, but instead, that entire answer was about team, mentoring, how you enjoy people, how you enjoy leadership, and you even tied it right back to the current company you're in now. I mean, that just speaks to how you move through your day, right? And how you think about things as a leader, and you're always looking to give back or prop somebody else up. I think that's fantastic. Really, and that's, by the way, that's the David I know, right? The confident leader that inspires, but is not overly cocky and not a narcissist, and like you see with some of these leaders. I know me and you have both been around some like that, and you're just complete opposite of that, which is so refreshing. So I really appreciate that answer.
Yeah. Well, I think the two things with that, Steve, are great things are never done alone, right? Regardless of what you do, it's a team that makes it happen. So anything that's accomplished at a really high level is done through a team. And then I think the other piece is just we work really hard on not being satisfied, of consistently looking for new ways, new opportunities, and constantly learning and challenging ourselves. And that's through failure. You learn so much through failure. Again, teamwork and then the mindset of consistent growth. And really, everybody here at Barco, our mindset is to be a sponge of growth. Looking for new ways, new ideas, new thoughts, new concepts to to lead the marketplace and service our customers at a different level and do things that haven't been done in the space before is how we attack our day.
What is the biggest hurdle for you so far professionally? If you and you know, we all have a bunch of them, especially at this stage in our careers, right? There's been probably a few, but what's one that you would like to share with the listeners? Maybe a big time hurdle that you overcame and what you learned from it.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I think if you're in business long enough, you're going to have several of those. You're going to have some big defeats that come at you. And we had a really large client that we lost a couple of years ago, and I think, you know, collectively as a team, as an organization, we had felt we had done everything we possibly could to retain it. And this was our largest customer at the time, and it was a tough pill to swallow. But when we stepped back and we said, you know what, instead of getting emotionally involved with it and taking it from a negative perspective, it allowed us to reflect on our organization and said, okay, where do we really need to make improvements on? Do we need to make some adjustments in design? Do we need to make some adjustments in our account management? Do we need to make, add new talent and bandwidth in technology? And so it allowed us to reflect on where we were short, where our shortcomings were, and potentially why we lost the business, rather than saying, you know, we shouldn't have lost the business. There was no reason why we lost the business. At the end of the day, we did. Right. And we had to make adjustments, and we made those adjustments. We made some movements, and we repurposed some people. And we've overcome that in a very significant way in a very short period of time. But in that crisis, it's challenging. I mean, it's a big blow, and it's certainly the size of our company. You know, when you lose your largest customer, that is not only from a profile perspective is high, and you know, it's very rewarding from a standpoint of having them in within the client portfolio. So there was a lot of angst at that time, and we just, you know, at the end of the day, we just said, listen, there's a learn, you know, we can learn here. This is a big lesson for us, right? And we turned it around and overcame that. And
now, not only did you overcome that, but now you're even doing more volume than you did when you lost that, right? You got that back and more, from my understanding. So congratulations.
Correct.
There. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Congratulations. By the way, I love the term repurpose. I like that, repurpose people. I'm going to use that one. I like repurpose.
Well, you know, at the end of the day, you want to give your people every opportunity to be successful. And you know, I think, Steve, the component is that, you know, our team today probably is not going to be the same team 2 years from now. And it wasn't the same team 2 years ago and 4 years ago and 6 years ago. And so you want to make sure that you've got the right team, right people on your team to be able to attack the market, stay ahead of what's happening there, and then lead through innovation. And that's really, at the end of the day, you know, I'm a talent scout, and we're looking for talented people that can come in and make a difference and do it in the right frame of mind. And sometimes those are tough decisions, but they need to be made to keep you forward. And so we want to give everybody that's on the team a chance. If they can't, you know, maybe they can't excel in the current role that they're at, it might be a repurpose for them to do something a little bit differently that they can add value to the organization. So that's really the theme behind repurposing.
Really good stuff there, David. And I like the fact that, you know, CEOs should consider themselves talent scouts, right? Because that's really what you're doing. You're only as good as the talent you surround yourself with. And so that's great feedback. Really great feedback. You know, speaking of talent and interviewing people and candidates, if I can ask you a couple of questions there, you know, on this podcast, we like to give career advice and job interviewing tips. Are there a couple of favorite questions or one or two favorite things you like to ask candidates during the interview process?
Yeah, you know, I don't know if it's one specific question, Steve, or two specific questions. I think there's a theme, and we've shared with you the Ideal Team Player, Patrick Lencioni's book, and Patrick Lencioni is an amazing author and writer on organizations and culture and those types of things. And you know, we go to great lengths to recruit the type of people that not only can have skill sets and experiences and competencies that we don't have currently, but fit within the culture of the type of the way we want to conduct our business.
Yes.
And so, you know, we go through a pretty rigorous process with that. And, I don't interview every single candidate that comes into Barco, but I interview most of them. And it's just, it's the process of which we go through as far as how we recruit and the type of people we're looking for. And, at the end of the day, and we talked about this earlier, is that you just have to have the right type of people that can come on to your team, not only from a skill set standpoint, but from a culture perspective. And,
right.
and they both have to work.
Mm-hmm. Yep, totally agree. Out of all the clients we've served that Riderflex has done recruiting for, you guys did such a wonderful job of making your company culture very clear, right? You early on, you sent us plenty of documentation. We visited with all the right people, with all the right leaders on your team before we started the recruiting process. And it was crystal clear on what the company culture was. And you're right. It's so important that the candidate not only has the skill set and the experience, but matches the culture. You guys do a really great job of that.
I think culture's never been more important. It might be an overused word, culture, but at the end of the day, it's the environment that you put your people in.
Yes.
And is the environment positive? Is it exciting? Is it forward thinking? Is it opportunistic? Those are the types of environment. We want young people or anybody that wants to come into our organization to make a difference, but have the right mindset as they come in, that we're going to attack our day. We're going to get a lot done. We're going to lead. We're going to innovate. We're going to serve our customers at a really high level. And we're going to do some things that are a little bit out of the box at times. And we're going to give people support and put them in an environment where they can be successful and give them the tools and resources. And, it's the environment that I had hoped that I could work for throughout my career. And it's just, it's kind of the golden rule, Steve. You treat people the way you want to be treated. Right. And you give them the opportunity to be successful. And if you do that, I think you have a chance to be successful. And the marketplace has never been more competitive.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. I just did a podcast the other day on this ghosting employers. I don't know if you've read about this in the press where people are just not showing up for interviews or just disappearing during the interview process and just kind of blowing companies off and not communicating, I guess, is becoming a worse than it used to be. And in the podcast, I said basically, the golden rule, like you just got to do the right thing. You just got to treat people the right way because it's gonna come back on you, right? You get out of life what you put in, and
absolutely.
If you could. You've had a lot of success so far in your career, a lot of major accomplishments, and like you said, some hurdles as well. And now at this stage in your life, if you could call that 21-year-old David Murphy coming out of Iowa and give him any particular piece of advice, what would you say to him?
I think that, as I talked about earlier, Steve, you can't have enough really good mentors around you and colleagues and smart people that can give you advice. And I think it took me a while. I think I came out of college and maybe a little bit arrogant, a little bit cocky, and kind of conquer the world mentality and do it on my own. And at the end of the day, as I progressed through my career, I realized how much smarter I was when I had really smart people around me that I could count on and get good insights from. And sometimes you just need to make some early mistakes in your life and your career, and you go, geez, had I asked a few other people and gotten some better insights, I probably wouldn't have made those mistakes. So I think it's just, and I got a chance to go back to the University of Iowa and speak in front of the University of Iowa football team. And,
wonderful.
And one of the things that I speak to those young guys is, and it's really careers beyond sports. And the fact is of having really good mentors in your life that can help you, and that can give you insights and can give you counsel, and steer you in the right direction as you're making tough decisions in your life, both personally and professionally. I think it's just really, really important to have strong mentors, beyond your parents that you can count on.
I couldn't agree more. And just to go deeper on that topic, I would also tell the listeners, it's not because you surround yourself with these mentors because you necessarily do every single thing they suggest, but they're going to give you nuggets, right? They're going to give you these golden nuggets as you communicate with them that you grab onto, and those are the ones you implement. So you don't necessarily implement everything, but you ask a lot of questions. you get their feedback, you grab the nuggets, and you charge forward. And if you have enough mentors that you've surrounded yourself with, you ask 4 or 5 of them the same question, you're probably going to get different types of answers from them, and you look at that, you assess it, and you make a decision based on all that input. And it just helps you through life making better decisions. It's so important. I couldn't agree more. When we first started Riderflex and we launched the website, I had, I don't know, 5 or 6 advisory board members immediately on the site. Even when we were a super tiny company, we'd done hardly almost no volume, and we had those guys up there right away, because I believe exactly what you just said. You have to surround yourself with people that are going to give you good input, good advice, and help you make better decisions. So important.
Yeah, exactly right, Steve. You said it well.
Let me ask you this last. By the way, I can't wait till I fly back out to Southern California, where I like to hang out, and we go to dinner again in Manhattan Beach somewhere. I'm waiting for that. I really enjoyed it.
Look forward to it.
Last time I came out. Can I ask you one more question? Speaking of mentors and advisors, I got this question from one of them. I stole it from him, and I use it all the time now. And it's now one of my favorite questions is, what's your core purpose? He asked me one day, he said, Steve, what's your core purpose? And I gave him that quick answer that most people say, well, I want to make the world a better place and take care of my family. And he really challenged me on that and said, yeah, that's great. But professionally, can you go deeper and tell me what your core purpose is professionally now, at this stage in your life now? How would you answer that one?
Yeah, I think it's a great question, and I think it probably evolves over time and over your career. But I think today, for me, Steve, is I'm just a huge fan of watching people grow and become healthier and happier versions of themselves. And at the end of the day, when you get a chance to work with great people and accomplish a great deal and have some success, it's a great feeling.
It is. It really is.
And that's what, when you see, when you get a mentor and work with great people and you see them rise and take on really difficult challenges and take on new opportunities and have success. I mean, it's, like I said, we're in a competitive marketplace, and to lead in a marketplace is challenging and difficult. And you get set back at time and it's difficult. And so just to see people grow and prosper through that and learn.
You're absolutely right. For those listeners, if they haven't had this happen to them, right? So if you're listening to the podcast today and this hasn't happened to you, I'll just tell you from personal experience, it's hard to describe what the feeling is like when somebody calls you that worked with you 5 or 6 years ago and just calls and says, hey, Steve, I just wanted to tell you what a difference you made in my life and in my career and how much you helped me. I mean, those phone calls, when you get those conversations later in life, it is a hell of a lot more valuable than any bonuses or anything else you received along the way. Trust me, it really is a special thing to lead people.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And at the end of the day, that's what it's. If you can impact people in a positive way, that's powerful.
Yep. My friend, I've really enjoyed our conversation. I'm super happy for you, super proud of everything you've accomplished, and can't wait to get back out and chat with you some more. I appreciate you being on the call.
Hey, thanks so much, Steve. Appreciate your friendship and partnership, and look forward to you coming back out to Southern California and having a nice meal with me.
All right, sir. Take care. Thanks a lot, David.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. We truly hope you find our material helpful and entertaining. And in the spirit of giving back, Riderflex donates half of all proceeds gained from this podcast to the Volunteers of America and their efforts to support veterans with employment services. While our podcast can be heard across most platforms, including iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, and SoundCloud, you can become a supporter of this podcast by visiting our show on the platform Anchor FM. That's anchor.fm/Riderflex. You can send us your questions or suggested topics for future episodes to the email address podcast@riderflex.com or drop us a voicemail at 888-964-5876 extension 710. Visit riderflex.com to learn more about us. Thanks so much for listening, folks, and have a great day.